So today's going to be a fun episode because we are bringing on Rex Ryan and his wife, Mickey.
I was talking so much noise, too, up there. I'm yelling at the hitters after you strike them out. Grab you some bench.
I just recently learned that you were in an Adam Sandler movie.
How much did that middle finger cost you?
That'd be 50 grand, Lance. I appreciate you bringing that up.
That's
That was 50
insane.
grand. But if we lost, I never even realized they did this. We would go to Taco Bell. You know, Lance, it was crazy, but we would go. I would sleep in the office at least twice a week. That's something that no matter how long you play, nobody can ever take that away from you. You know, you're a world champion. And at one time, you're the greatest team there was. And, like, that's the coolest part of our game.
Hello, and welcome to Dymin and Lance with Lance Lynn. Sometimes Lance is here.
Made it.
He got a haircut.
I did.
He didn't want to talk about it, but we're going to talk about it.
It was time to trim it up. Mm-hmm. So the mullet's gone.
He's looking a little wild there.
I got a little crazy. Beard trimmed down.
You're feeling yourself, too. I can see that he's feeling himself.
The wiry grays aren't poking out as much.
The women are responding as well.
No, one of the kids' parents was like, "You cut your mullet." So I don't know if that's.
You like that?
I don't know if that was a good or bad. You cut your mullet, so.
I don't know. It looks good. You look sharp. I'm not upset about it. I did like the mullet, though. The mullet was fun.
Yeah, you got to keep those things tight, or they just get
Wild.
nasty.
Yep.
Yeah, it's the easiest way to
Just
say
giving
it.
caveman there towards the end.
Which I like that, but and also then your personality starts running with it, and then it gets weird.
Don't I know it? Okay, so today's going to be a fun episode because we are bringing on Rex Ryan and his wife, Mickey.
And we know them from our days in Tennessee.
Yep. We were neighbors.
Yep. And then Rex and I got to know each other. So, weird story. We'll get to that with him as we go here. So it should be an entertaining little episode because Rex always
He brings
energy.
entertainment.
Yeah, he brings energy.
Yeah, he's fun. I'm excited to talk to Mickey because she's been with Rex for 30 years.
Yeah, and
So
that's a long time.
it is.
A lot of coaching moves. Who'd be crazy how many places they've lived and he's worked. And I just know coaches on the baseball end have to spend way too much time and effort compared to the player. So I'm guessing football's the same because game planning and all that's a lot more strategic than baseball.
Yep.
Well, I say a lot more strategic because they get a lot more going on. Play calls, this and that. There's a lot of different ins and outs in football. Baseball is.
I might get myself in trouble here with this question.
Let's do it.
What do baseball managers do?
There's a lot of different things that you have to control. I mean, you have what's like as the game goes on. You have
But you guys don't have like plays to come up
we have
with.
bunt defenses and stuff like that. We have hit and runs. There's like little ins and outs of.
Sounds illegal.
No, it's not.
Hits and
fully
runs?
legal. The only thing that's illegal is to bang on a trash can and tell them what pitches are coming. Oops. That's so 2020. That was pre-COVID.
You're going to get yourself in trouble.
That was pre-COVID. No one remembers.
Oh, my God. Well, baseball's over. We never talked about that.
It is over.
It's very over.
On to the off season.
It's been the off season for you for a hot minute.
And a long month so far.
Oh, Lance won't be joining us next week because he'll be in a deer stand somewhere. I still don't know the location.
It's in central Illinois.
Sounds made up.
Pike County. Look it up. You know your counties.
I really don't know that one.
Exactly. Well, you just know this one and the one you were born in, don't you?
I'm going to make him call in from a tree stand. You're not avoiding this.
Phoning in.
Yeah. It's going to be great.
It is. Hopefully I got a deer on the ground.
I hope you do.
I can show you it.
He did not tell me about that. He told me that he was going on a hunting trip, but he failed to mention that it was 5 days long.
First things first, when you go on a hunting trip, it's not like, hey, I'm going to leave for 48 hours. It's a trip. Nobody
We've argued
goes
over
on a
this
trip
before.
shorter than 5 days.
Right. Well, you told me when I was distracted because I would have remembered like, hey, I'm going to be gone the next 5 days. And I don't remember that. happening. So
Yeah. I was like, hey, you care if I go on a hunting trip? You're like, yeah. I was like, I just assumed you knew that like hunting trips are like, how long was my last hunting trip in Kansas? It's 5 days. Thanks.
Kansas. When did you go to Kansas?
Went to the Kansas and Nebraska. Yeah.
How long was that? That was forever
it's-
ago. That hardly
and it's
counts.
5
And
days.
I knew that was going to be long because you're going somewhere weird to Kansas.
Okay. Well, I still have a 3.5 hour drive to this one.
Did you shoot anything in Kansas?
No, I did not.
Oh. Hate that for you.
Hey, don't bring up sore subjects.
I'm just saying, like, maybe not all hunting trips are worth it. Maybe you just go in the backyard.
You don't know if they're worth it until you try.
All right, fine. Whatever. Okay. Well, I'm excited to. Does Rex hunt?
I don't think so. I've never heard him talk about it.
You should go with him.
It would be interesting to see Rex in a tree stand.
It would be.
I don't think he would sit still long enough to do it.
to
He's a
ask him.
goer. Like playing golf with him, there's no practice swings. He gets out of the golf cart, grabs whatever club he feels like it's the right one, doesn't care about the yardage, he hits it, and he's back in the golf cart on to the next one.
Yeah.
He's always on the go.
Well, I Googled him, obviously, because that's what I do before anyone comes on, because I want to be prepared. That ex-journalism student in me. Washed up journalism student. Yours truly. He was in that Adam Sandler movie.
Yeah.
That's My Boy.
That's My Boy.
That's My Boy, which I've seen that. And I obviously didn't know that was him at the time, but now I'm like, no way. He says yes to he does shit for the plot, which I can get behind. I do that. I run mascot races and if you're presented the opportunity, do it
that's an interesting one.
to make your 80-year-old self laugh, It's my life motto.
There you go.
Yeah.
He's got you covered on that.
He does. I want to meet Adam Sandler.
Oh, maybe Rex can make that happen for you.
Yep. I'm going to ask him.
You can ask him, yes.
This is either going to be awkward as hell or just amazing.
Nah, if it gets awkward, Rex will start telling funny stories or something. That's kind of his
I love that for me.
thing. So we'll be all right.
Yeah. All right. So we're in for an entertaining episode. So I'm really excited. So let's talk to Rex and Mickey. Let's do it. You're on a lot of podcasts, aren't you? I'm a little nervous. You're like a professional talker. Okay. So I came up with a little game to play with you, Rex. And Mickey, you can join in too.
All right.
Because I was a journalism major. I'm washed up now. I've actually never done anything with it ever. And so, like a good journalist, I Googled, and some of these headlines seemed made up. So I made some up, and I want you to guess which ones aren't real. Okay? All right. Rex Ryan left wife at home with sick dog to go to Cancun. Rex Ryan's book is a New York Times bestseller. And Rex Ryan makes Tom Brady cry. Which one's fake?
One is half baked. All right. But the Tom Brady one definitely never happened because that dude used to make me cry. So that one is the one that's definitely fake. But why don't you explain what happened on the Cancun trip? By the way, for my birthday.
Yeah, and I really did not want to go.
She's the villain.
Well, I
Not
really
me.
did not want to go. But our dog did come down with that respiratory virus, and they wouldn't let us board her because she would be contagious to all the other dogs.
Oh.
So I didn't have to stay home, but he did not leave me in the airport.
Okay.
Can't board her. I have to stay home with her. So he didn't leave me in the airport, but yes, he went to Cancun without me. But
It sounds like a great story, though, doesn't it? Like, you know what? No, you stay. I'm still going,
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. I'm glad you clarified that. All right. This is most fun to me. Rex Ryan flipped off a fan at a martial arts competition in Florida. Rex Ryan finished 11th in the Amazing Race. And Rex Ryan is banned from Yankee Stadium for snatching a foul ball and has no regrets.
Okay, definitely C is not accurate because that never happened. But I did flip off a fan. But what happened, the whole time this dude was like in my face for forever. It was like crazy. I'm like really? Like get over yourself. Like I get it. I'm a coach in the Jets or whatever. And I was talking noise about how we're going to beat them twice the next year, which I think we did. But anyway, as I'm walking out, the guy's whatever, and I just said, hey, right here, dude. Like the guy came at me, and Jay Glazer was funny. One of the, Jay Glazer was with me, and he ends up tackling this dude. I never even saw the guy coming. And the guy even like spit at me and all this. Like he was crazy. And so as I'm walking, I'm like, hey, dude, right here. And sure enough, that picture gets, it gets on the front page of one of the New York papers. I'm like, really? Like, but either way, that did happen. That is true. That did happen.
Why were you at a martial arts competition?
Well, here's what happened. We had, there was a player named Vernon Golson who was a high first round pick of the Jets before I got there. And I go in there and I'm talking to Jay Glazer about, I knew he had trained a lot of pass rushers into this martial arts stuff. And so I was thinking to myself, let me find out more about it. And it just so happened that there was a competition there, an MMA thing, and that was a chance for me to talk to Jay. And I'm like, all right, I've never gone, so I'll go ahead and do it. Herschel Walker was actually on the card also. But either way, I went in there and I realized one thing. I damn sure don't want to do that for a living. Like, that was
a part of
ridiculous.
it. You must have to practice martial arts just to get out of there.
Yeah, well, the average Joe, I can handle the average Joe. I just can't fight somebody that's really tough.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
How much did that middle finger cost you?
I'd be 50 grand, Lance. I appreciate you bringing that up.
That's
was 50
insane.
grand.
Yeah, I was wondering because I know if some guys have given some middle fingers on the field, and I know it hadn't been cheap for them too.
No,
It wasn't that much though.
Wasn't that much, but it was probably half of it.
So you really have to act right like everywhere you go when you're a football coach?
Well,
Especially if it's going to be on camera.
Yeah. Like I feel like it's one thing if you're like at a football game and you're being crazy, but like you weren't.
I know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is one of those things. I tell you one that happened that I was so proud of is when Big Lance was pitching in the exhibition game that for your first start last year in the and all of a sudden you get tossed. Angel Hernandez is the umpire. You get tossed not once but twice, which is very impressive to me.
Yeah, that's a good one. Especially you get tossed twice in spring training, which I don't even know if you're technically allowed to get tossed in spring training. So,
and he retired shortly after that too, didn't he?
He didn't make it to the All-Star break.
Yeah, he didn't finish the season.
I don't know how many series he did, but yeah, it happened quick.
He was forced retired, and I thought it was hilarious. Lance, your comment about he's in mid-season form.
He's ready to rock. He was ready to rock right out of the get-go. So.
He stayed ready to rock. He was kind of a.
I will say that for the all in all, he wasn't a bad, like he was a nice guy too. That's the craziest part about it. And then if you're getting after him and then every once in a while he just snap and he just start throwing everybody out. Once he got there too, he wasn't going to stop that day. It was going to go. It's like it builds up from like the whole season and then he lets it out on one day and on everybody.
That's insane.
It was a crazy one.
That was a crazy one. You're a big baseball fan too, aren't you?
Yeah.
Are you a Yankee fan?
Well, I'm a Yankee fan with Big Lance pitch for the Yankees. But and the funny thing, so I'm on Dymin. I'm on like a radio show in New York all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And they would always get on because I'm like, the Yankees need to pick up Lance Lynn. They need to pick up Lance. And selfishly, I wanted the Yankees to do well, but I'm like, I want to go see Lance pitch.
Yeah.
But either way, they would always give me flack about, Lance, because that was it. I'm like, that's my guy. Now I'm a Cardinal fan. I was a White Sox fan. I was a Ranger fan. Maybe not a Twins fan, but
I hear you. That was a quick stint. That was a quick stint.
Yeah, you weren't there for very long.
That was about
that was before we ever even met, right?
I think I was playing golf with your dad, mainly, and I think you went there. Maybe we might have met one time or something, but
we met at the All-Star break that year.
We just moved to Tennessee, like right
Yep.
that April, I think it was.
Yeah, we moved before the season. I didn't even see the house until the All-Star break when we had a party over the All-Star break.
Rager. We didn't even have furniture.
Nope.
I'm like newly pregnant and sick as a dog, and I hated all of you. I don't know if you knew that at the time.
We had a great night though.
It was crazy. Yeah. Oh my gosh. What is your standing on sports, Mickey? Didn't you tell me one time that you go to hockey games and read books? I get it. I totally get it. I'm really interested to hear your perspective on absolutely everything too, because you guys have been together 30 years, right?
37.
37?
Yeah.
That's amazing. And for such like a masculine man as you, Rex, like you are very like public about your love for your wife, which I appreciate because that's rare, but you love your woman. So I'm assuming that's what makes 37 years tolerable.
It's great though. So we had, once I got out of coaching, forced retirement or whatever, as you will. I'm a huge hockey fan. I grew up in Toronto. I played 8 years of hockey growing up, and I'm a huge Toronto Maple Leaf fan. But when we moved to Nashville with the Predators, the hockey team, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to get season tickets. So not only did we get season tickets, and she's reading a book at every game. No, we are on the glass, like right on the rail. So every single person sees Mickey sitting there reading a book, and we got the best seats in the house, but it was, but I dragged her to the games though. I would drag her to the games.
That counts.
She decked out in the Pred stuff. And
I was cheering for him, but I wasn't watching him.
no,
I don't blame you at all. I'm not very sports minded.
Like, as she said, there's a couple of real cute guys on the Preds, this Forsberg and this guy named Yossi. Every time they were on the ice, for some reason, she'd be watching. As soon as they were off the ice, she's back to reading.
I don't blame her. Not for a second.
They do a good job with those Preds games, though. I like what they did there
fun.
when we were able to go.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Yeah, they're fantastic.
Yeah. Well, going back to your 37-year-long relationship, I'm interested to hear from Mickey in how, because for me personally, I do not thrive during a baseball season. Like I like popped out of the womb a very anxious person, and I like structure and I like schedule. And so really 8 months out of every year for the past 7 years, I'm like a head case. So I'm curious because I don't know if you expected your life to be like so public and so crazy, but like, how have you found your identity in such a public way?
I really stay out of the public as much as possible. I only would attend things really with the team that were women's functions. I did not go to the facility every day to see him. If they had family night dinners, I would go then. But otherwise, I stayed away. I know a lot of wives that were there at the facilities every day, almost bringing the kids, dropping in. I never did that. I only went out there if there was a function that I needed to attend, or if he asked me to bring something. Otherwise, I stayed away. I made friends there. Most of my friends were outside of football. And I just built my own quiet life at home with just a couple close friends. Really, when I was with my friends, we never talked football. We never talked sports. We just talked the subjects we like to talk. But I truly stayed as quiet, as away from the foreground as I could. And I know, like you, I like a routine too, and baseball can really upset your routine. So I just learned to control what I control at home. So I can control, the only thing I could really control was my environment at home. And so I controlled it. And then I left football up to him.
I love that answer. Do you feel like, Rex, did you like that Mickey had her own little situation, or did you ever wish like, woman, come to the games? Lance
No,
feels
she
that way
was.
about me. That's why I'm asking. He's like being part of more, you know?
Well, she would. Mickey would go to the games.
But I wouldn't go to training camp. You know, a lot of wives would take their kids and go to training camp every day. I did not.
Mm-hmm.
I did not go. I would take the kids when they were younger. I would take them one day to the Ravens, and we do all the games and the blow ups and everything. But outside of that, I did not go to training camp or again facilities. I didn't go to watch practice. I just made my home life for me, and also to make it easy when he got home at night. I didn't read the papers. Often I go to the bus stop in Maryland and someone would make a comment about who was injured or somebody we traded or lost, and I didn't even know anything about it. I didn't read it because, like you, I would be anxious.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that was going on, every injury, every trade possibility, every whatever, I'd be anxious. And then when he got home, I would be anxious. And I kept, which wasn't helpful to him. So I kept the home environment as calm and peaceful and as stress free as possible. So when he walked in the door, he could relax. He could let it all go. I wasn't harping at him about what was going on and what was said in the papers. I tried to create a stress free environment for both of us.
I got to tell you, what was a funny story though, which I never realized I was doing this because we spent 6 years with the Jets as a head coach or something, and I never realized we did this. If we won, we would go to my favorite restaurant, all right, my favorite Mexican restaurant, and then I would have between 2 and 3 margaritas. If I had 3 margaritas, she would drive home. Okay, 4 margaritas, she would drive home. But either way, it was. But if we lost, I never even realized I did this. We would go to Taco Bell. We would go to the drive-thru.
And you know, and you just order a whole bunch of Mexican, and it would just ate what he gave you. Just
And it was so funny because Mickey later finally told me. I guess we were in Buffalo or something like. Well, what's going to be your routine? Because if we lost, we would go to Taco Bell. But I had no idea we did this, and it went on for 6 years.
Oh my gosh.
That's nuts. That is, you get locked in, you don't realize what you're doing. And that's what I was saying. We were talking about how baseball, like daily, we play games every day and all that. And football, I think, like baseball wise, people think we just show up at 5 o'clock and play at 7, right? And then I was like, well, football, especially coaches wise, they're there. I mean, probably off days on Monday if you play on Sunday, and then Tuesday through the week you're there from 6 to all day trying to game plan, get everything ready, and there's a lot of time at facilities and a lot of time away. And I know baseball coaches are there longer than players, so I figured football coaches are there even longer because of game planning, all the ins and outs on the things you guys have to do. How did that go around?
Lance, it was crazy, but we would go. I would sleep in the office at least twice a week. So that was. And that was Tuesdays and Wednesdays, right? Mondays. Monday and Tuesday, sometimes Wednesday. So at least twice a week, I would be sleeping in the office because you're right. Your game planning, it's like you always have your game plan about how you're going to pitch players and things. There's no question about it. This one is the football. It's such a strategic thing, so it's like, all right, when they're in this personnel grouping on 1st and 10, we want to play this, this, and this. And on 1st and 10 after to start a series is different than 1st and 10 when they gain a first down. Like every single bit of it is like, it's computerized. It's all this. You get tendencies. I would go back. Almost how many games they played, I would watch all those games. So regardless of it, and plug everything in. So I knew I was never going to be surprised. I never wanted my players surprised. But with that, it took hours and hours and hours of preparation. And that's why it's crazy. But I would never get sick during the season. But as soon as the season got over, I would get sick.
Just lose everything.
Yeah. And
stress mounted up.
Because you can. By then, no, you can't get sick. But it was just crazy, and that kind of routine. And so at home, like she had to be the dad, the mom, everything when the season's going on. In baseball, you guys travel so damn much, and I think it was a great experience for me to come to see you go to a game and be there early and watch all the preparation that the players have. Like I remember I'm looking at Arenado, the great third baseman, and he's taking an hour of batting practice, like just waiting on, well, I'm trying to, drive the ball through the middle. I'm trying whatever. It was like crazy. Like he was so into it. And so you're right. I think people just assume, let me just show up, get my 4 at bats, and go home. That is not the case, and it's never the case in professional sports at all, baseball and football included. And I think what's strange with football, we would get like 4 or 5 weeks off during the whole year. That's it. And I think people think that once the season's over, oh, hey, what else do you do? Like I had another job or something. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, so because you're getting ready for the draft, you're looking at your own players, free agency, you're trying to tweak your scheme. You go through every single play again that you had. What do we like? What are we good at? What are we not good at? What do we want to keep? What do we want to throw away? What do we want to add? There's so many things that you do, even during the off season. And, it's just, I think it would blow people away to realize how busy you really are as a NFL coach.
Yeah, we were talking before you popped on about, because I was like, what's the difference between like a baseball manager and a football coach? And you just told me there's a lot of differences. I feel
there's quite a it's a totally schemes, and like you said, different downs, different formations, all that. Baseball, you have your bunt Ds, you have your pitching matchups. You gotta, obviously, what guy can, in your schemes, what guy can't cover a guy, so you got to give him help. Things like that. Baseball, it's like, hey, these 3 hitters match up very well with this guy, but this guy is probably not a good matchup. So there's some ins and outs that are similar, because you got to, try to protect some of your players' weaknesses, but you also have to, there's sometimes where you got to make a gut go, and that's what you have that day. And you just got to figure it out and try to win the game with what you have that day. So it's a crazy, sports are crazy. You can game plan all you want, but if the player's not healthy, or, some days you just got to go with what you have and hope that you can do what you can, and or your guy shows up for you that day too. It's wild. But speaking of, Rex came to my last start of the season. He's talking about Arenado in the cage. So I got to thank you. The last start of the year, you came in, gave the boys a pep talk in the hitters meeting, got them going for me. So I was able to get a win on my last start in St. Louis this year. So I don't remember, you didn't tell me exactly what you said, but maybe you can give it a little bit. I know there's a few choice words in there probably to get the guys going.
Yeah. As soon as I got in that kind of environment around athletes and things, I go right into coach mode. And it was funny because I was like, the coach asked me to speak, and I was like, all right, walked in there, and then literally within like 1 minute, man, I'm trying to coach the hell out of this team. Like, hey, Jordan Walker, you got all this talent. Make sure they're getting you out at your best. It's about focus. It's about all this. And I'm thinking to myself as I walk out, actually, I'm rolling. I'm ready to. I know you're pitching. We're going to win this damn game. You know what I mean? But it was just, it's just, I can't help myself. And you kind of walk out of there, and I'm like, oh hell, sorry, coach. Like I got a little carried away, but it was funny. And then I talked to your manager after and things like that, and he goes, Rex, your message is hilarious. Like it's spot on. Like, and it was because I guess I follow your team that you pitch, so I know it. And I see things, and it's tough. Look, man, you guys got to get up for 162 games, like 162 games. Like it's crazy. And but the great teams, as you know, are the ones that can focus through it. Every pitch counts. And if you can focus like that with the ability that your team has, I thought they could be really successful. And I think every team can. And I think whoever handles that, especially in baseball, the grind, whoever can handle that grind, like has such an advantage, I think. And And obviously momentum's coming based on your pitching staff. Like momentum's coming your way when you got you pitching or you got, this guy or that guy pitching. You have a tendency to do a little better, but it's still competition. And it was so fun being allowed to talk to your guys. It was great. And I will say this about baseball and football. The crazy thing is this. Like, why are games so damn important in the NFL? And you lose one, it's like devastating. And here's why. That's the equivalent of a 10-game losing streak in baseball. Like, think of that. Like, you lose one game. We play, now it's 17. It used to be 16. But that's 10 games.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why, like, I think the grinding of the coaching and all that, trying to make sure your players in the best spot to be successful. I think that's kind of the difference, right now. But the grind of what you guys do as baseball players and a baseball team is absolutely amazing. It's amazing. And the focus and the attention to detail, it's just crazy. It really is.
Did you watch any of the World Series?
You know what's funny? Because it's during the football season. So, I watched, what I could. I'm like the only football guy that probably does. But, I do that ESPN stuff. So I'm watching every football game. But sandwiched in between, oh, don't kid yourself. I'm watching it. And the Dodgers win it. It was just 1 year too late because I was wanting to
Yeah, right.
That's
how we all felt.
But you know what? He's got his with the Cardinals, and that's something that no matter how long you play, nobody can ever take that away from you. You're a world champion, and at one time you're the greatest team there was, and like that's the coolest part of our game. And I remember Lance was like second in the Cy Young. When he was with the White Sox, had an amazing year, make it to the playoffs, so you guys get beat. But even as great as that was, like individual accomplishments, really should have got the win as a starting pitcher or, the pitcher in the All-Star game. You win my favorite game that year was when you won the one where you're out in Iowa for the Field
of Dreams.
Field of Dreams game. That was my favorite damn game. Even though Judge got you for a homer, but either way,
he got me. He's got me a few times. He's got me a few times.
But yeah, he got a lot of guys a few times. But as great as all that season was, even for you, I bet you wouldn't trade a damn world championship for anything. And that's what's so cool about it. Yes, baseball's individual. We know your wins and losses and innings pitched and strikeouts and all that, but it's still a team game. And there's no greater accomplishment when you win that world championship. Nobody can take it away from you.
Oh yeah, there's nothing better than a bunch of grown men dogpiling in the middle of a field that is just acting like kids, just jumping up and down. So that was definitely the number one feeling or the number one memory I still have in baseball. Is like there's no better feeling than that.
Yeah.
Who do you want to root for next year? Like, what team should Lance go to?
Still think I love that. He's the Tigers because our son's in Detroit. He's not going to be there anymore though because our son's going to be moving. I have a feeling, but I think I like Lance in St. Louis, and the reason I do, I think he's 9-0 the last 9 games he's pitched in St. Louis or something crazy like that. So that's a pretty good stat. But I don't know. I think, and I know it's kind of a rebuild or whatever, but man, when people think of Lance Lynn, as great as he was with the White Sox and other teams and things, you almost think of him as a Cardinal. Now, the Braves wouldn't be too bad either, to be honest with you. I wouldn't mind him going to Atlanta either. But so that'll be my team. I'm waiting. I'll have my hat and I'll have my jersey and everything else as soon as he decides where else he's pitching.
Yeah, we got to wait and see. Obviously, everything's just starting. So we'll see. Hopefully, St. Louis, they figure out what they want to do and there's a fit there. So you never know. I enjoyed my time back there this year. Obviously close to family, being where I started and all that, it was a fun year. So, we'll see where the business takes you. Unfortunately, that's kind of you think you can control it, and then you are not the one making the decision. So until that someone offers you something. So that's the hard part.
Yeah, I think it was funny because I know there was talk about, well, should Lance retire and all that. I'm like, no way in hell. You pitched way too good. You had one bad game all season. I mean, you had an amazing season. So hopefully, hopefully get on that bump real soon, and and you're taking another run at another World Series. Be awesome.
Yeah, that's the main thing. Now we were talking about, we're like, all right, where can, what's obviously you got to wait for the opportunities, which team's going to call, what that's going to look like, and then making the choice of, hey, who's got the best chance to win, and where can the family get to you, be comfortable, and everybody can have fun. So those are the decisions that are going to come up from from now till Christmas time or whenever things get done. Some off seasons they move fast, some off seasons they move slow. So we will wait and see how it goes here.
Yeah, no, that's got to be you talk about an anxious time. That's got to be crazy for you guys. At least you guys are dug in. You have your home, but man, it's got to be. What's it like? Like I know going to as a coach when all of a sudden you go to a different team or because you're taking a promotion, as a coordinator, or you're being a head coach or whatever it was. But, still you've got to now, get the players, it's kind of exciting at the same time, but getting to know a brand new group of young men that you're coaching, guys, peers that you're coaching with. That was always something. And then the moving part, the good thing is I would just turn it over to Mickey and like, okay, pick the house, pick whatever. Good. I used to say this, goodbye, my dear, football is here. That when the season started, that's what I would say.
It is crazy. Like for me now being like 14 years in, if I go to a new team, I probably know a third of them somehow, some way. And then, so you got a good idea of guys, heck, nowadays I get to a team and I know half the coaches. I played against half the coaches or teammates with them. So that's always a weird one. When it comes to houses, I will always send her like a group of 5 houses and I go, pick your favorite 2. I'll go look at them and then we'll go from there. So we try to make it easy, and then we get the house set up so when the kids come, they have their little playroom, and then everybody has a place to sleep.
Yep.
And we're good to go. So obviously you guys are the same. For me, I'm looking at we've played 5 different cities. So getting to know those cities and stuff. For you've coached at how many different places over the years and all those moves and stuff like that?
Yeah, go ahead, Vic. Bunch of them.
Yeah, so it's like that's the crazy part about like we had our craziest stuff is when we get traded in the mid season. When you get traded in July and you're like, where we got to find a place to stay. When we went to LA, it was like we got to find a place to stay. We have to get a company to pack up our whole house in Chicago, ship everything home, get to LA, hopefully find a furnished place. And then obviously LA is not cheap to live. So it was like, hey, we got to find something. That was probably our wildest one.
We were a disaster that year.
we made it work. And I mean, the Dodgers did a great job of helping with everything and stuff like that too. So, New York was crazy too from Minnesota. We just literally loaded it. The good thing in Minnesota is we didn't have any furniture or anything like that. It was all rented. Or kids. So yeah, it was load up the car with all clothes and all that, ship the car to New York. And then, New York had an apartment of a guy that got traded. So we just jumped into his apartment. So that was pretty easy movement too. So, you get these teams help you out. And if there's a house open that a guy had, or, some guys buy houses in places and then next thing you know, they're renting them to guys and you just jump in them. And so, there's a good network. So we were able to use all those things.
How many teams did you say? 9 teams for us.
Okay.
So the difference is we don't get traded during the middle of the season like you guys. Like that's a little rough.
Get traded
football players get traded. The deadline was yesterday. What did you think about the deadline? Was it crazy? Anything crazy that you thought should have happened or happened that you're surprised about?
Well, the one that I'm really happy about is the pass rusher going to Detroit. So Zadarius Smith gets traded to Detroit because Detroit had the devastating injury to Aiden Hutchinson. Was quite honestly probably going to win the Defensive Player of the Year. He's playing so well, and they really don't have a pass rush since. So when they add this guy, that could be the missing piece because I think Detroit. It looks like they're headed to have a special season, and I hope that's the case. Obviously, with our son coaching there, but um, that was it. I think it was interesting hearing Jerry Jones talk about how he was going to, he's all in, and we're gonna make some moves and all that. Their teams they're 3-5 right now. That should be more of a selling type deal instead of trying to acquire. But he can't help himself. Like he is, hell no. We're not punting on the season. He's not like that. He's going to try to win anyway. But so that was kind of an interesting thing when he came out publicly and told his locker room and everything else that, and then they trade for a receiver and give up a 4th-round pick for a guy that I think has 11 catches or something. So wasn't exactly maybe more of a fizzle than it was, a huge buzz. But very rarely, like in baseball, you guys, you always see trades about it, and it could be a superstar player going to like almost a rental, like we're going to pick up Lance for a year, just so he can pitch this season for us or whatever. Now that's unusual. That really doesn't happen in the NFL very often, So you very rarely see trades during the year. There was maybe a handful of them, but in baseball, it's nonstop. And you're looking at the thing that I think is really weird. One of the best players in baseball is this Juan Soto kid. And now he's gone, 3 teams in 3 years. And he's getting ready to go to a 4th in 4 years. And this is one of the best players in baseball. Probably in the top 5, probably in the sport, on my opinion. And he's going to go on his 4th team in 4 years. Absolutely crazy.
It's crazy. And I think you see that's the money situation. I think for him, it's like he went in we got traded from Washington to San Diego, and then San Diego was going for it. And then they had, it looked like they had some money issues they have a really good roster, but they were able to use him to get plug the holes that they needed to plug. And then he went to New York and had a great year. And then it's kind of baseball's a weird one like that. It's like they exchange money for players in certain spots to make sure they stay under the CBT to the tax, so they don't do it. But they also, San Diego needed some pitching, and they were able to get some for him too. So that ended up being a good trade for both. And like you said, he could be on to another team too. But I'm going to say that the Yankees are going to do everything they can to bring him back, because him and Judge together were a great duo, and that's a heck of a lineup with both of those 2 guys in them.
Does it have anything to do with football players playing not less, but like baseball players play longer? Have a longer career, yes.
So
Words are hard sometimes.
So you see more guys bounce around. NFL is like you have your rookie contracts. Guys are so valuable on those rookie contracts. And then once they get to that point to where franchise tags get weird and stuff like that, you'll see them traded. Or, a lot of them nowadays, it's the wide receivers, right? They get where they don't like their quarterback, or they got a little tiff or something like that. And then that's the only guys you really see get traded anymore. It seems like.
Yeah. That's an interesting thing too, because those guys are, all of them want the dang football. You know what I mean? So it's like you can forget. Like they could say, teams first, team. No, it's not. They want the football first.
I need my targets and my catches.
So it is kind of funny. And it's weird. Like all the sports are a little different. They're all different. You look at basketball, because there's only 5 guys on the court. If they can sit back and say, okay, I think it's a fascinating thing where it's like LeBron James can go to Anthony Davis, say, hey, why don't we play together? And they can almost force their hand playing together. And we saw that the first time with in Miami when it was LeBron, D Wade, and then that gosh, the other kid from Toronto that went there.
Bosch.
But
Yeah, Chris Bosch.
Chris Bosch, like it's crazy, but they can almost manipulate it to where we got the best players, like and it's kind of weird how that happens, but it's still popular and all that. But it just blows me away sometimes how they can do that, how the players can actually manipulate where they play now.
I think NBA might be the most like player driven league in that regard, where they have the control, or I say they have control. They've got a lot of voice into where they get traded, where they want to play. They were able to manipulate their contracts shorter, longer, and do all that. Where I'd say football and baseball, when you get drafted, that team has your rights for 5-6 years if they franchise tag you and stuff like that. Where NBA, I feel like those guys are free agents after 4 years, and every 3 to 4 years they're signing new deals or going somewhere else. So they've done a good job for their players having rights and having a say on where they want to play and stuff like that. And it is crazy how it works like that for those guys.
Yeah.
Do you play fantasy football?
I absolutely do. And here's the funny thing, and Lance knows I play fantasy baseball all the time. So
Big fantasy baseball guy. When we were in Texas, they flew out there to do the fantasy baseball draft in spring training when we played for the Rangers, and they were there. That was crazy.
Yeah. So we come in there, we're like, all right, well, where's Lance pitching? All right, they're in the Cactus League. So we're gonna go to Arizona and we'll go watch Lance pitch. We tied it all together and then and did our fantasy baseball draft. But I was in 2 leagues and won both of them in baseball. Here's the crazy thing. I'm terrible in football.
Shut up.
So I'm much better in the baseball than I am the football, and most of it's with the injuries and stuff like that. But it is funny. I even do hockey, a fantasy hockey league. I do fantasy basketball. So I become a fan, and I think it's a great way for fans to connect with our players. And fantasy baseball is a little tougher, but if people are true fans of baseball, they would love fantasy baseball. And if they've never played it, they should. I mean, it's fantastic.
No, you got crazy. You got 5 starters. I've never done fantasy baseball because we're not allowed to, because I'd be betting on baseball. So
Right.
I've never done that, but I've heard it's crazy with how many roster guys you have and stuff like that. So you're going to be on top of it weekly to set your pitching matchups and stuff like that, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And there's even daily ones. So where you'll be head to head with somebody, but there's no like it's no weekly lineup set. So you're constantly, like, for pitchers. Oh, okay, we've got Sonny Gray pitching today. Oh, if he's available, I'm gonna pick him up and then drop him after he pitches. So there's all kind of things that go on the daily one. But I think I had 1 year I had like 300 different moves in fantasy baseball for the season. So yeah, we would be on vacation, and I'd be like, "Hold up, I got to get my fantasy roster in there."
Everything waited.
We're doing that right now in fantasy football. So I'm in 4 leagues, and one of them's a dynasty league, which is the first time I've ever done that, which, like, it's a pain in the butt. You're talking about trade. You got guys on your team that are on their practice squad, and you're just like, so that's crazy. But she'll be like, "Hey, what are you doing?" I'm like, fantasy football. And she's like, "That's all you do on your phone?" I was like, "Well, I'm in 4 leagues, trade offers. You got this. I got this
You're
guy.
good at it, though,
I got
right?
this guy on the IR. This year I'm having a tough year. Last year, Joe Kelly and I won the Dodgers League, so we had a good year last year. It's all about if you're a top guy, stay healthy and produce, you're going to have a chance. And then it's about picking up the right guy on the waiver wire throughout the year and hoping that he continues to become a guy and doing all that. So if your quarterbacks and stuff stay healthy, you got a chance. But if they get hurt early, you're scrambling and hoping that you can pick up their backup, and their backup's worth a crap.
Yeah, it's funny how running quarterbacks are more valuable than drop back quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
If you have, for instance, like, not anymore, but like like a Jalen Hurts is clearly head and shoulders above Jared Goff in fantasy,
Right.
not in real football, but in fantasy football, he makes a difference because he gets all those touchdowns, where he's running him in. So it's crazy how the thing happens. Like that's where you gotta like before I would draft Tom Brady in the first round or whatever, and they're like, no, you shouldn't take a quarterback until like round 7,
Right.
or something like that. So it's kind of fun though the way and quite honestly anybody can do it, and I think that's what makes it great. And the league certainly loves having the fantasy aspect of it, and you'll even see him put points on like they'll have the thing scrolling in there on this receiver caught 6 balls for 102 yards and 1 touchdown. Like in fantasy points, it's worth 28 fantasy points or something. Yeah, so it's kind of cool.
It is crazy.
This is all over my head. I have no idea
it
what
takes
you've been
over your
talking about.
Sundays. It takes over your Sundays when you're refreshing your fantasy lineup, being like, "Where am I at?"
Pay attention either.
You don't get it either?
No, but I hear the dinging going when he's drafting. I can hear the little ding that goes on the clock to draft. I know he's in here drafting, but other than that, no. Unless he throws a temper tantrum because something bad happened.
Yeah, when you get the guy that you have ready to go gets taken right before you, and you're like, "Come on."
Yeah.
That's devastating.
Yeah, we did our fantasy football draft during the baseball season, and then every year she's like, "What do you guys got tonight?" I go, "We have the fantasy football draft. We do it on an off night during the season on the road. We rent out
the ballroom
in the hotel. We have catered food. We have drinks. Like guys are chirping each other. We make it a big deal. So we have
don't hear from him that whole entire night.
Yeah, she's like, I'm going to be gone for the next 4 hours because we're fantasy football drafting and I'm locked in.
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, there's no doubt. It's so cool. And you guys get the big board and all that with the stickers. And
yep. The young guys do a great job of putting all the stickers up for us. That's real nice of them. We get jerseys for like the first 24 like average picks or whatever. So you can go up there, you can pull the jersey and be like, this pick's in, and you can pull the jersey of who you want. So we try to make it as much fun as we can. As you know, the season gets long, so you try to have the fun nights with the team. We have the coaching staff come, and half of them some of them are in the league, some of them are not. So we try to incorporate the whole travel party too, so we have fun with all of it. So something to break up that year, and that's usually when you're making a playoff push too at that time of year. So it's always fun.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Crazy. You're crazy. So what's next for you guys in life?
Well,
It doesn't appear that you say no to anything. You're always like, let's go, let's do it. I just recently learned that you were in an Adam Sandler movie.
Yes, I was. It wasn't a very good movie, but yeah, it was a lot of fun. And it's funny. So Adam Sandler calls me up, and
That's a flex.
we're driving, and immediately I'm like, hey Rex, this is Adam Sandler. I'd like you to be in one of my movies coming up. I'm like, yeah, right. Click. Get a call back. No, this really is. I'm like, there's no way this is Adam Sandler, but I'm like, hell yeah, I'll do it. So. Yeah, that was a blast, and it was so funny. I never wanted to screw up. Like I don't want them having to. I'm assuming that it's one take and that's it, right? Wrong, because you're there all day. But I wasn't going to be the guy that was going to mess his lineup. You know what I mean? So I had it down. First thing, Adam just starts going on, and I'm like, no, dude, you're supposed to say this and this. He's like, whatever, but it was a lot of fun. He is awesome. That dude is so funny, and he's just so naturally funny, but great guy, phenomenal guy. It was an absolute joy to be in that movie with him.
Well, I know we've played golf together a lot. They're coming out with Happy Gilmore too. How do we get in that movie?
Dude, that's a great question.
Is it really a Happy Gilmore 2?
I've heard Happy Gilmore 2 is in the works. We need to figure out how we can get on there. Maybe we can be the guy heckling him this year. I don't know what they've got going on.
Didn't you guys go golfing with John Daly?
Yep, John Daly would come down
He
to
would be
Nashville.
perfect for.
Yeah, nothing like us two and John Daly on the golf course with Happy Gilmore. That's what
And
I'm
Mike.
talking about.
You need Mike in there too.
Big Mike.
Yeah, Mike. Maybe we can pop my dad in there as our Uber driver or something like that.
I'd sign up for that all, but yeah, that would be great.
Maybe we can get this out next week, and he'll bring us in for be a little Happy Gilmore too. That'd be fun.
That would be amazing. I would be down with that.
It's one of my favorite golf movies. So I mean, Adam Sandler, if you're hearing this, Rex and I are in for Happy Gilmore too.
We're politicking to get in that movie.
Exactly. You still got that phone number? I mean, I'm not going to be in it. You don't care about me. It'd be you.
Come on.
But I'll meet Adam Sandler.
Yeah.
What's up?
Hey, you know what? One day we were walking down the street in New York. It was one evening, and we were coming out of a restaurant, and some friends were with us, and all of a sudden, this bearded guy comes out. He wasn't rocking that kind of beard that you have, Lance, but he had a good one. And he's walking, and he goes, "Hey, Rex." Hey, and I'm looking, I go, "Adam, what the hell?" Like, here's just him and his daughter walking down the streets of New York. And that's what's so cool about New York, by the way. But like literally just random. And he's calling my name, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" Like we haven't seen each other since the movie. You know what I mean? So it was kind of cool, just to run into him in New York of all places. But and then, my buddy Sonny, he's freaking out. Like him and his wife are like, "Holy that's Adam Sandler." I'm like, "Yeah, this is New York City. Stuff like this happens all the time." But
that is
it's kind of cool.
That's nuts. Well, we'll be in Nashville here in the next couple of weeks.
Yep, we're gonna come down for the CMA. So,
have you ever been to CMA Fest?
No, and I know we were trying to get tickets or something. I still haven't heard from those people. I'm glad you guys got them.
Yeah, we were able to get 4, so we're going to go with a couple friends of ours. So we're looking forward to it. We've never been. We've heard good things, but I mean, it sounds like it's crazy down there that time of year.
Oh, I'm sure. Nashville is just. I mean, it's so fun these days, and the thing I like about it's like I don't see any fights and all. People just having a good time. It's a great place to come visit. But are you going to bring your sticks? We need to play.
I'm trying to figure out if we can get down there early enough the day of to play that morning, and then because it's 7:00 the night is the CMA. So
like in the middle of the week, isn't it? It's like Wednesday.
So Wednesday. So trying to figure out how we can get there Tuesday night to play Wednesday morning, and then go to the CMAs on that night. So that's the plan. I know I'm trying to come down after Thanksgiving to play that weekend after Thanksgiving. So we'll figure it out too.
Great.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I remembered a story I want you to tell. The Christmas lights story.
Oh
yeah, when you're at the Jets.
Yeah.
So we have like 3 years in a row we won the best lights or whatever, right? But the story you're talking about is this one. We go to play the Titans, right?
But remember, we bought a house on Oxmoor Court.
Where you guys at your house, yeah.
I'm fine. We were with the Jets. Ken Wisenhunt.
Yeah, he was the head coach of the Titans.
Yes. That was our house. We bought his house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was across the street and down from us. So we had just all these multicolored lights put around our house at Christmas time, just all different colors.
So we just happened to be playing maybe a week before Christmas. We're playing the Titans. And so I'm telling, and we're not having a very good season. We're struggling. But I remember telling the team, I'm like when you win late in the season, you have what you call a victory Monday where they don't have to come in. Because by then they're exhausted and you're just trying to give them a little break. And so I'm like, there's 2 things I know are going to happen after we beat Tennessee. The first one is you're going to get victory Monday. So this is the night before our game. I'm talking to our team. I go, the second thing I can tell you is that I'm going to change every single light bulb, the green and white, by my house, because I explained how the Titans coach was across the street from me. So sure enough, we end up getting the win. And everybody's like, "You said you were going to change the lights. You said it, whatever." I'm like, whatever. So we come in on Wednesday, and I haven't mentioned anything about it. Okay. the lights. And so we're going on to the next opponent. We're doing all this and this. Every one of the players like, Rex, how about the lights? Did you do it? Did you do it? And I go, the lights? What are you talking about? And so I showed the before picture, and then I showed the after picture. All of them are green and white. And then later, the thing that's crazy. So I left them out there all through Christmas and things like that. Later, my son, so Seth, is coaching with Ken Wisenhunt with the Chargers. And I'm like, oh, sorry about that. By the way, I did it. And so I see Ken, and he was laughing about it. But yeah, it was a good little jab at him for sure. And I will say this: we played him the next year, and so I'm with Buffalo at the time, and I'm getting ready to. I've got a charging buffalo, a huge charging buffalo, and I'm going to put it in his front yard. Okay, it's like enormous because we had beat him, but then he was really under fire, like for the media and all that. So Mickey's like, "Don't you dare!" And so I'm like, I stayed in our garage, so we never had it. But this thing was enormous. Like I had a special truck deliver it down to the house. It barely fit in the garage, so that was going to happen the next time. But no. She made me pull that punch, so probably a smart thing.
That would have been a big old buffalo in the front yard when you come home.
Oh my gosh. I feel like people would love you on social media. Why don't you do social media?
Oh, I don't know. I
don't know.
I think it's funny that as they encourage, like ESPN, they encourage everybody to get on it, except me. They don't want me on social media because they know I'll screw something up. And I like having a job, so I don't want to offend somebody or whatever. Yeah. So I think it's best they stay off of social media.
It's really.
I need to get you a TikTok. That would be amazing.
He's out.
All righty. Well, I think that's it for us. We really appreciate you coming on. This has been fun.
Thank you.
Oh, no doubt.
Thank you.
I'm waiting on one day to get Big Lance when he does retire to get him talking baseball because everybody loves him. And he's got the great personality, he's knowledgeable and everything else. It would just be a given. Now, Dymin, I don't know if you're going to, because you might not want him around the house all the time. That's what she, oh no, you got to keep that dang job. So it might be the same thing with Big Lance.
Yeah, put in a good word for me up at ESPN. Maybe I can get do some cameos on Sunday Night Baseball or something like that.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh my gosh, I like having him home. Actually, I got 3 kids. I'm a crazy person. I'm like,
sure.
Here you go.
I'm busy.
Drop them off, and that is funny because in the off season, that would be my thing. Is like, oh, all right, I got the kids now. You know what I mean? So she's making up for it now because I'm home. Like I'm the homemaker assistant now, but my list is like I run things in my house, Lance. I run it all. I run the vacuum cleaner, the dishwasher, the laundry, you name it. I'm running every dang thing. So
I'm working.
I don't know.
I'm not there yet.
Tag.
He is not there.
I'm not there yet. I can do I can do some dishes here and there. Laundry is a struggle.
Only if I bitch loud enough to see.
Yeah, it's like, hey, did you see that the dryer just went off? I was like, that's what that was? I didn't know what that dinging was.
Yeah, I know.
We're crazy.
Oh, that's great.
I got to get after this. I got to go set up all my hunting gear to go hunting next week for a 5-day hunting trip. So she didn't realize a hunting trip was 5 days. It's like a golf trip.
He told me when I was like distracted and was like, hey, can I go on this hunting trip? And I'm like, yeah, whatever. And then later it's 5 days long. I'm like,
leaving Sunday. I'll be back Friday. See you.
Don't you get a spa trip after that and go to a spa somewhere?
I should.
She's going to
I?
CMAs.
With him.
Sorry, Lance. Sorry.
I got her set up for a spa during the CMA, so we're good to go.
Yeah. Okay. Now you're putting me on blast.
Well, thanks again. We enjoyed it, and we hopefully we can see you when we're down in Nashville a couple weeks.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Bye.
See you guys.
Well, that went well. Guys, I don't know shit about football. I just confirmed that.
A little bit. It was crazy, huh?
Yeah, a lot of that went right over my head.
Well, I had a good feeling of that. I mean, I've talked to him a little bit about how crazy his, like when the managing or like being the head football coach is, it's wild how much time and effort they have to put into things. So I thought it was cool for him to be able to share that with people. So it's always easy to be the what they call the armchair quarterback, which is you can always second guess head coaches and this and that or players and stuff like that. But seeing what kind of time and effort they put in and all the ins and outs of it, it's a crazy lifestyle, a crazy job, and they have a lot of stress and a lot of time and effort they have to put into things.
He used to sleep in his office.
And I've heard of other coaches having to do the same thing. So that's part of it. Watching game film all night. Football is a different beast all the way around. Every sport has their film sessions and stuff like that, but football game planning, game films a lot.
No kidding. I didn't know there was a fantasy hockey.
I think
Is there fantasy everything?
I think there's about fantasy everything now. I would not be surprised if you could. Anything that you can create or have a player on your team that has individual stats, you can pretty much make that some sort of fantasy sport.
This is kind of what Ashley was talking about. Why fans are getting mean now.
Well, yeah, because they there's a lot more involvement.
People lose their own money.
Well, you have fantasy football or fantasy sports, and then a lot of those betting apps and stuff like that. You can live bet on like a guy getting a touchdown, or
so that's not like the same thing as
it's not the same
football.
thing
Okay,
as
never
fantasy
mind
football. But if you're in fantasy sports, you're most likely playing for money against friends or colleagues or something like that. So. And then when you talk about betting, there's over-unders on everything, personal, team, all that. So if a guy screws up, I've heard of teammates getting texts or not texts, but
Venmo requests.
Venmo requests. Yeah. Be like, hey, you cost me my fantasy league because you sucked ass last night. Yeah. You owe me $1,000. You're like, dude, what in the world? So, just so you know, we don't want to suck. Bad games happen, and we are sorry for you losing your fantasy game and or league. If we had a bad game, it's not our intentions. It's not like we said, hey, I know that guy, I want him to lose his fantasy league and have a bad game tonight. That's never gone through anyone's mind.
Good to know. I was worried. I really was.
So yeah, no, I thought that was fun. Obviously, we've gotten to know Rex and his wife over the years, and they are awesome people. Rex takes care of my dad down there in Tennessee playing golf, and make sure he has friends to hang out with. So that's always fun. And obviously, he's a great storyteller and has a lot of stories.
He was kind of hyping me up there a little bit when he was talking about the pep talk he gave the Cardinals. I was like, oh yeah.
Oh yeah. So when he got done with that, all the guys were jacked, and Mason Wynn, who was like, he comes in, he's like, dude, how in the hell do you know Rex Ryan? I go, Mason, I've played 14 years in the big leagues. Like, you randomly just meet people. I go, you'll get there. He goes, no way. And I go, yeah. And I go, that's how it works. I go, you kind of meet people over time. And I go, Rex and I were neighbors. And I go, that's how crazy things happen. I go, so when a guy comes in and says hello and all that, say hello, because you never know where it might go from there.
Well, you never know who's like a fan of yours. Like,
yeah.
Rex is a huge fan of yours. He's visited you in Arizona,
he went
New York. Cardinals.
Yeah. Rangers, Cardinals.
Did he go to Texas?
He went to Texas in spring training. He went to Chicago for a game. Yeah. One time, and then St. Louis. So he's, of all the places in Minnesota, we had just met, so he didn't go there, but every other place since he's came to a game. So he texts me after games, good or bad. So it is funny to hear his story about like when teams win and team lose, because we're all like that, right? It's like, all right, you got your celebration when you lose, and when you or in your celebration when you win, and then when you lose, it's like, everyone's like, oh, it's because you lose, you don't want to be seen. It's like, no, it's like you don't deserve it. Like that's your feeling. Like it's like, all right, I gotta go.
You guys
For
are
him,
nuts.
it's like, okay, I gotta go to Taco Bell instead of a legit Mexican restaurant.
Yeah. Well, I felt validated by Mickey. That
And
made me feel good.
I think that's the craziness that people see, right? Is
Mhm.
it is everybody has their own crazy. You just gotta, like, for her, she had her way of dealing with it, and everybody has their own
Yeah.
family dynamic, their way of having their own
Mhm.
life
You
within
have
the
to
games.
everyone has to find their peace, their inner peace. Like even you have your vices during a season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I like to go golfing
Mm-hmm.
because that's another way of, it's like, oh man, something different. It's like sometimes you just got to do something different throughout the season.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's
Clear your mind.
yeah, it's
Protect
just
your peace.
yeah, go like, okay, I can go golfing today. Can do something different athletically. Just get away from the game. And golf is another thing that like it pisses you off. So it's like, man, why did I shoot a freaking 88 today when I should have shot like a 78? And then you're like, what?
I don't
And then you
know.
start thinking of those things instead of being like, oh, cool, I had a bad game the other day. But
Well, golf is a mental game, right?
yeah, and it gives you different tactics and different strategies that you got to use.
And you're allowed to drink beer. That
Yes.
helps.
Yes.
Yeah.
It does.
All right. Anyways, we didn't get a chance to talk to him about going to Ole Miss, which I don't even know what he would have said to me. But
You had to pick the game. He'd win.
Lance was singing a little chant, and I think he'd like to do that again.
No, I was getting you ready for Oxford.
Sing it. Do it.
And it is getting the Are You Ready?
Is that part of it?
Yeah, that's the start of it.
Do I have to say it?
Somebody will come on the jumbotron and say, Are you ready?
Okay.
And then you say, hell yeah, damn right. Hotty toddy gosh almighty, who the hell are we? Hey, flim flam bim bam, Ole Miss by a damn. Woo! So you'll hear it all over campus. Get ready for it. That's the start of the game. They'll have some celebrity. They usually have some celebrity on there screaming, Are you ready?
Who's that? Michael Orr.
One question. We got Georgia game. So, I mean, that's their top 3 in the country or something like that.
Luke
maybe
Bryan. I'm just
2.
kidding.
No, he's probably a Georgia fan. That's the worst one ever. I don't know. Maybe when I get there, I'll get on the jumbotron on the field. You never know. That'd be sick, huh?
You think you can do it, or will you get like nervous and like have a breakdown?
I've
Will you forget the
I've
words?
done it where I've said, Are you ready on the jumbotron before?
Oh, so you just say the "Are you ready" part?
You say, Are you ready?
Okay.
And then the stadium does the rest.
You have to say it like a mad dog, like "Oh,
Yeah.
you."
You got to get into it.
Yeah, like
Got
crazy.
one question for you.
Oh, this is your time to shine. He's got him a haircut.
Mhm.
He's feeling sharp. He's ready to go.
Bingo.
Yeah.
I probably won't be the one doing it. They probably have someone cooler than me.
We'll find out.
We will. We'll
Again?
let you know who was the pregame Are You Ready person.
Yeah, we will. Hopefully we can get the Vaughns on. We are going with Lexi and Andrew Vaughn. We knew them from the White Sox.
Mhm.
She went to Ole Miss,
Mhm.
and she's super fun. So
Yeah.
we're going to have stories, but Lance is going to be talking to us from a deer stand. I'm not letting him out of this podcast because,
Yeah. I'll be phoning in next week.
yes.
So I'll be in my camo ready to go. And then I'll be ready to go back into the stand after done. Unless I killed something that morning, then I might be late if I'm tracking it in the woods. We'll see.
Yep. All right. Well, that is it for us. Thank you for listening, and we will see you next Tuesday. Like and subscribe and watch these videos. And what else do they need to do?
Enjoy. Hope you like it.
Enjoy. Okay. Bye.